Terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir for this PC. And this PC is khusus berkenaan dengan Parti Pejuang. Kerana ramai yang tak faham kenapa kita tubuh Parti Pejuang, tetapi kita ingin jelaskan sebab-sebabnya. Yang pertamanya, kita tak suka terlalu banyak parti politik, khususnya di kalangan orang Melayu. Ada banyak parti politik bermakna di electorate, voters berpecah dan masing-masing dapat cuma sebilangan yang kecil saja, tak cukup untuk nak dapat menjadi. But here we are faced with this problem. Kita tubuh Parti Bersatu khusus untuk melawan dan menjatuhkan kerajaan kleptokrat Datuk Seri Najib. Tetapi Parti Bersatu ini telah di-hijack oleh satu puak dalam parti guna untuk hidup semula nanti. Sekarang ini kita dapati Datuk Seri Najib aktif, bebas, walaupun didapati bersalah, tetapi bebas dan berkempen untuk Parti Bersatu sendiri, walaupun tak ada Parti Bersatu yang bertanding. Tapi kita lihat Parti Bersatu sekarang ini memberi nyawa baru kepada Datuk Seri Najib. Dan kita pula ahli Bersatu yang lama yang tidak bersetuju dengan Muhyiddin, kita harap kita kekal dalam Bersatu. Tetapi sekarang ini kita sudah di-expel from Bersatu, sehingga kita tidak ada parti lagi. Jadi bermakna bahawa perjuangan untuk lawan corruption, untuk lawan abuse of power dalam kerajaan, untuk lawan macam-macam kesalahan oleh pemerintah, kita tak boleh nak buat apa-apa kerana tak ada parti. Sebab itulah kita buat keputusan untuk menubuhkan satu parti yang mana tujuannya sama dengan bersatu di waktu, bersatu di tubuh. Iaitu kita akan lawan corruption, kita akan lawan abuse of power by the government. Kerana pada mulanya, in the first 3 months of the new government, kita tak banyak kritik kerajaan. Nak tengok apa yang nak dilakukan oleh kerajaan. Tetapi setelah 3-4 bulan lepas, kita dapati bahawa kerajaan ini sama dengan kerajaan Najib, using money politics, using government power to suppress people, dan politically also trying to eliminate any opposition to the government. This is what is happening. That is why after about 3 months of observation, we find that it is necessary that this government's wrong behavior mesti ditegur. Dan effectively kita boleh tegur kalau kita ada parti. Sebab itulah kita tubuh Pejuang. Dia punya matlamat dia punya purpose is the same as Bersatu. Tetapi kita tak boleh jadi ahli Bersatu kerana Bersatu sekarang ini sudah di-hijack, dan kita buat parti baru ini dengan tujuan yang sama, kerana kita dapati bahawa perjuangan untuk lawan korupsi, lawan money politics, lawan abuse of government power and all that masih diperlukan. Itulah sebabnya yang kita tubuh Parti Pejuang. Secondly, kenapa kita tubuh Parti Pejuang Melayu? Pasal apa tak buka multiracial? Kerana Bersatu pun sekarang ni dah jadi multiracial. Pendapat kita ialah orang Melayu di Malaysia ini mempunyai lebih banyak masalah berbanding dengan kaum-kaum yang lain. Terlalu banyak masalah. Dan solution yang boleh apply kepada semua kaum, tidak berkesan kepada orang Melayu. Ini kita lihat pada masa kita perkenalkan dasar ekonomi baru umpamanya. Walaupun kita cuba tolong orang Melayu, tapi orang lain yang dapat manfaat. Dan kita ingin tentukan solution untuk orang Melayu ini dibuat oleh orang Melayu yang faham tentang masalah orang Melayu. Orang Melayu ini mempunyai budaya dia yang berlainan daripada yang lain. Kalau kita apply the same solution that can be applied to the whole of Malaysia, to all Malaysians, it will not be effective with the Malays. So that is why we feel that focus on Malay is very important. So this party is a Malay party. Di masa yang sama saya ingin jelaskan di sini bukan untuk nak berperang dengan orang bukan Melayu, tidak. Kerana kita tahu kalau ada pilihan raya, kita orang Melayu saja tak boleh dapat kemenangan. Kita juga nak friendly with non-Malays. Tetapi kita tengoklah yang mana-mana yang kita boleh sokong, kita akan sokong. Apa yang baik bagi non-Malays akan kita sokong. We are not fighting against non-Malays. We are focusing on the problems faced by the Malays and only able to be corrected by Malays. I know this personally because I've been involved with dasar ekonomi baru over a long period of time. I did a lot to help the Malays, but mostly it was a failure. Although we must admit that the dasar ekonomi baru was successful in terms of producing better educated Malays who are professionals now. Dasar ekonomi baru, for example, was able to increase the number of Malay doctors, which made up only 2% of all the doctor population in Malaysia. Before that, now it is about 40%. So because of the special concentration to give them an opportunity, because in the past tanpa dasar ekonomi baru, kita bagi kepada the best student dapat scholarship pergi belajar jadi doktor. But now we give also to the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And this has proven that they are capable. They are capable of studying medicine, becoming a doctor, and are trusted as doctors. I myself trust them enough to allow them to belang saya punya dada 2 kali. If I find that these Malay doctors are incompetent, I wouldn't do that. But they have the capacity. The only thing that academically they didn't do so well. So that is what I mean by focusing on the Malays by people who are representing the Malays for special operation that will enable them to benefit from government or policies. Kalau tidak, kalau kita buat general policy for all the country, for all Malaysians, the chances are that the Malays will not decide. I was born 95 years ago, and during jangan tunjuk belah kata saya tak pakai emas. I was born 95 years ago, and I cannot say that the moment I was born, I already observed things. But in my teens, when I was a teenager, I already observed the thing. I find that there were, of course, poor Malays, poor Chinese, poor Indians. But over the years, saya dapati bahawa the poor Malays improve a little, but is not able to overcome their poverty. But the poor Chinese, they have their own culture. You know, Chinese are very good in business. The whole world has to admit them. You see now, Even America is frightened of China because the Chinese capacity to acquire knowledge, to use the knowledge for their own well-being is far higher than most other people. I am quite sure that if we allow Britain, for example, allow just about 30 million Chinese to migrate to England, I think the British people will disappear. They will be like the Malays of Malaysia. You see, because our cultures are different. We have to admit that our cultures are different. Malays are easily satisfied. We have this man who was selling good bihun mee, very popular. When we tell him, why don't you move into the proper shop? Di situ boleh besar lagi. Ya, cukuplah banyak ni dah. Kita dah dapat banyak ni, cukup dah ikut nak makan, minum dah cukup. Dan kita dah dapat kerja haji dah. Semua boleh buat. Nak tambah-tambah lagi buat apa? So you don't find Malays starting franchise system. But you can see di Sarawak punya hamburger company,
Very Brown.
Very Brown. They have that culture that they want to grow big, but Malays don't want to grow big. Only very few of them have actually taken up the challenge and have grown big, but their numbers are very small. So we want this country to have people who share the wealth of this country fairly, not equally, fairly. So this means that we cannot allow this disparity between Malays, Chinese and Indians to grow too much. Of course, we can say, forget about Malay, Chinese and Indians. We can say, but the Malays feel like that, the Chinese feel like that, the Indians feel like that. We still identify ourselves by our race. So when you see this disparity getting bigger and bigger, you will one day be threatened with racial conflicts and even violence. That is something that I fear, because as you know, as within rich and poor, there will be conflict, even if it is a single race. The reason for socialism and communism is because of the distance, the disparity in wealth between the rich and the poor. Itu same race. Tambah kalau dia ada implication of difference in races, the disparity will create tension and even envy and things like that, which may explode. You see, please remember that when we started dasar ekonomi baru, pada masa itu kita punya estimate is that Malays own 2% of the wealth. The Chinese own 20-something% of the wealth. The Europeans, foreigners own almost 60% of the wealth. Now, if you have 2% of the wealth and the growth is 100%, from 2 it goes to 4. But if you have 20% of the wealth and the growth is also 100%, it is 20 to 40. So between 40 and 4, the disparity is bigger. So we need to give some handicap to the Malays to catch up with the other races. And I've talked to many people, rich people, non-Malays. They believe that it is good. They believe that they want stability. They don't want anything that can contribute to tension and conflict between races. So that is why we feel that focus for us, for our party, must be on the Malays. So we form a Malay party. The reason for this is very clear, because we have problem. The biggest number of poor people are mostly Malays again. Numbers, in terms of numbers. Victims of corruption, Malays, because they are easily corrupted. Weak political voice, because now they are divided into four. Bad political leaders, and you know, their leaders, one of them has actually been convicted on 7 charges of criminal acts. So of course, he has appealed, but today he is still a member of parliament, still able to vote in parliament and all. This treatment, of course, is determined by the judges. We don't interfere with the judgment, but we feel that sometimes there seems to be discrimination or unequal treatment. A man who breaks the SOP for tak pakai mask apa semua may be fined and thrown into jail immediately, but you lose billions of dollars. You are free to go around, wear necktie and all that. So people see this, they think that yes, we are being fair, but is this fair?